Hey guys, what's up? I am the Retro Goat, and today we are going to take a look at the newly released NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-pack, based on the Mirage comics and inspired by the art of Jim Lawson. To be more specific, this is from the Return to New York storyline, which spanned across like 3 books, books 1, 2, and 3, that was originally published in 1989 with pencils done by Jim Lawson. Hence the fandom's unofficial but lovingly named TMNT Jim Lawson 4-pack. And right off the bat, we have this absolutely beautiful artwork done by Kevin Eastman, which depicts the 4 turtles going head-to-head with the Shredder clones. We also have some foot soldiers here in the background, and what also looks to be Shredder also here in the background. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back. And we've got some product shots of the turtles made up to look like comic book panels over here. Looks like mostly Raph over here taking out some foot soldiers. And then we've got one shot of Donnie also doing the same. And then we've got on this side a group shot of the boys with a to be continued with some headshots of more NECA figures that are either soon to be released or have otherwise already been released on shelves, like the Shredder clones. And then something interesting of note, we have what I would assume to be Leo right here. We've got Donnie, and then over here we have what I would assume to be Raph with the angry grimace and the slashed up chest armor here, but he's holding Mikey's nunchucks. But then if we come over here, we have what I would assume to be Mikey, but he's got like the smiling grin, but he's rocking Raph's size. So that's something interesting of note, and we'll look into a little bit later. Let's go ahead and flip the box back around. And take a look on the inside. It's just held together with Velcro. Pop that open. So here we have the boys in all of their glory with their accessories. We have here Leo with his katanas. We have Donnie with his bow staff. And then sort of, here we go again with what I assume is Raph, but he's packaged with Mikey's nunchucks. And then we have way over here Mikey, but he's packed with Raph's size. So, you know, again, sort of a weird flub that mirrors the photography on the back of the box. Not only do we have the weapons swapped in package, but the photography also on the back of the box also swaps the weapons between Raph and Mikey. So a real interesting flub there, and something we'll have to come back to here in a bit. We also have some throwing stars. We have Raph's hood from the comic. We also have an extra arm for Raph with the wrapping around the bicep, also from the comic. And then we've also got some extra hands here and some extra bandanas. And then just something of real quick note, it's kind of hard to see, but the bottom of the flap here sort of depicts a street level diorama, and I'll see if I can sort of get a slightly better view here. So yeah, you know, if you wanted to display your figures on this, you know, I guess you could, but a nice touch, you know? So, but really what I would do is, if you keep your boxes, find a way to display this, because this is an absolutely great showpiece and deserves to be seen. But let's go ahead and get these boys open and take a look. All right, guys, we have the boys here outside of their packaging, and they look absolutely fantastic. They look so good together. They're so nice. So first things first, let's go ahead and bust out the tape measure here. And it looks like we're coming in at about 5 3/4, just shy of 6 inches. So these boys will scale well with any of your other NECA TMNT figures or any other 6-inch figure line. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab Leo here. And right off the bat, man, like these guys, again, they look so good. These are brand new molds, and the build quality on these things feels so good. I mean, they do really feel fantastic. They've got a good solid heft to them, a really good weight. So there's nothing about them that really feels cheap or anything. They feel really well made, which I do like a lot. So let's look at some of the details here. The green paint on these guys looks really good. They all share the same color green, and it looks really nice. The red on the bandanas also really pops. It looks really good here. On top of all of the line work on the bodies that make them look like they just stepped out of the pages of the Mirage comics. And you know, that's what these figures were intended to do and intended to look like, and I think they've really just knocked that out of the park. It is interesting to note that the turtles do all share the same basic body, so all of the line detailing that you will see on the arms and the legs, even the shells, it's all the same. But it is interesting to note that things like the elbow pads and the knee pads and even the belts all have unique scuffs and nicks on them that sort of help differentiate the turtles, which is kind of cool. And obviously you can see on Raphael, you know, he's got the most cuts and nicks on the front of his shell there for obvious reasons, because he's the angry boy. But those are some cool little details that do help differentiate them, which is super cool. As for the bodies, they are made of a solid plastic, while the knee pads, elbow pads, belts, straps are all made of a very soft, pliable plastic. That also includes the bandanas here as well. These are all made of very soft, pliable plastic, which helps with the articulation and giving the joints a little bit more give. And just a quick note on the bandanas, these are meant to pop out, which I will show a little bit later, but I would take just a little bit of caution in trying to detach these sort of at the connection point here. If you're too rough with them, I can definitely see somebody just ripping this off, and that's that. So definitely just take some care when you're messing with the bandanas. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into the articulation. The heads are on a ball peg, so you can get left, right, you can get pretty decent up, get a really nice down. If you want, you can get the full Exorcist one way or the other. And then we'll come over here to the shoulders. You can get them almost a full 90 degrees, but they don't quite get there. They're just shy of that. And on my copy of Leo, his right shoulder here doesn't go up quite as far as the left can do, which is a little annoying, but I might be able to fix that with some heat, possibly. But you do get a full rotation front or back at the shoulder. The bicep, you have a swivel. At the elbow, you've got double joints for a pretty nice bend there. At the wrist, you've got a swivel and a hinge joint, although the hinge joint is hampered ever so slightly by the wrist pads here. They don't really have that much give as far as the bend goes, but it's not a huge letdown. And then we get here to the waist, which is on a ball peg, which gives you some really nice side to side. You can also get some forward and backward motion here. The shell does hamper that a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. Then at the legs here are on ball joints, and actually they can give you a really nice split. Look at that, pretty cool, huh? Super cool. So you can get some pretty cool moves doing that. At the knees, you get double joints, which gives you about a 90-degree bend. So you can get a pretty decent run there, I would say. It's not too bad. And then at the ankle, You can get a little bit of ankle tilt going backwards, forwards, and then they are also on an ankle rocker for some side to side. And then sort of the last little bit to note here, they all do have the tail, which is also, believe it or not, articulated. You can swivel it left, right, go for the full 360 if you want, but they do have a little bit of articulation, funny enough. Something to note on my copies of these figures is that while most of the joints feel pretty good, feel pretty solid, nothing's too loose, some of the joints are a little on the tighter side, more so than I would like. For instance, Leo here, both of his bicep swivels were completely just frozen. I could not get them to move. So I had to bust out the hair dryer, heat them up a little bit to hopefully get them to pop. I did get this left side here to pop, so it's got, I can get the full 360 here on the bicep on his left side if I want, but on the right side, there's not a lot of give. I can get it to go one way a little bit or the other a little bit, but it is mostly just kind of stuck, and I am really afraid to push it too hard because I think I'm just going to snap his arm right off. I might try some more heat again to see if I can get it to pop here, but it is basically kind of stuck. So something to keep in mind when you're pulling these guys out of the box and trying to pose them, take heed and be a little gentle with them. Don't just start trying to bend all the joints as far as they can go right off the bat. Okay, so something I wanted to talk about from earlier regarding the packaging of Raph and Mikey's weapons in the box, and also the photography on the back that had their weapons swapped. You can confirm this is Leo, obviously, because he's got the sheaths on the back for his katanas, so clearly that is Leo. If we come over here and grab this one, this is clearly Donnie. He's got the notch here for the bow staff, so there's no doubt of who that is. But then, we get to Raph and Mikey here, and you can't really tell from their belts, what kind of weapons they're going to be wielding. You can only go by the expressions on the face and the battle damage on the front of the shell here on Raph to get a good idea of okay, yeah, angry face, battle damage, this is Raph, you've got the smiling grin here, this is pretty clearly Mikey. If you're still unsure about that, you can pop the heads off of these guys. The set does not come with any extra heads, but the heads are still able to be popped off, like so. Hopefully we can do this without messing up the bandana here. Okay. Now, I don't know if my camera can focus all too well, but if you can see in there, the first initial of Raph's name is in there. See? There's very clearly an R for Raphael. So this is without a doubt Raphael. Further confirming that, yeah, they screwed up the packaging for the placement of the weapons, and they screwed up the photography on the back of the box, which is just wacky to me, but there you go. There's Raph. We'll go ahead and just try Mikey's head too, just for good measure, but this is absolutely going to be Mikey. Boop. And there we go. Don't know how well that's visible there, but there's definitely an M in there for Mikey. So, mystery solved. These are absolutely who they are supposed to be, Mikey and Raph. So yeah, if you do ever have confusion of who is who, and you can't tell by the weapons or the faces, you can always pop the heads off and confirm via the initial inside the head. So, pretty cool touch there. I do like that a lot. Okay, and here is a real quick look at all of the accessories that come in this set. So, we have over here Leo's katanas with his alternate bandana. We've got Donnie's bow staff here with his alternate bandana and 3 throwing stars. We've got Raph's size and his alternate bandana. We also have Raph's hood from the Return to New York storyline, and also his extra arm with the wrapped bicep. And then up here we have Mikey's nunchucks and his alternate bandana. And we also have a bunch of extra hands. So we've got like the more relaxed hands here. We've got a pair of open hands. Then we've got also a pair of fists and a slightly different pair of gripping hands that are a little bit more friendly for Raphael's size. And I can probably show that here real quick. So I know a lot of people like to pose Raph with his size like this, and this is a lot easier to do with this extra set of gripping hands than it is with the ones that come standard on the turtles themselves. So they're very similar, but they're a little bit more friendly when it comes to gripping his sai like this. So that's also very cool. Alright guys, let's take a look at the turtles with some of their weapons. We've got Leo back in action here, and we have his 2 trusty katanas that he always comes with. They're both painted very nicely, you can see here. We've got the silver and sort of like the blue shading on top. You have the yellow at the hilt, the wrap, and then the silver tipped handle. Again, painted very nicely. Do keep in mind though, when you're putting the weapons in their hands, try not to pull it out near the handle's edge, because I'm starting to get, I don't know how easily it can be seen here, but I'm starting to get some of the green paint rub from the gripping hands on this silver matte paint on the sword. So definitely watch out for that, because you don't want to screw up your weapons too much. So take a look at the back here. And the swords will stow in his sheaths quite nicely. They just kind of fall in. You don't really have to do anything. Look at that. No muss, no fuss. Super nice. Just get him back out. And so each of the turtles comes with their own set of gripping hands, and there's a bit of an indentation sort of right at the base of the fingers right before it meets the palm. That sort of allows for a solid grip, and the easiest way that I found is just sort of put the weapons in at an angle if you can, or kind of snap it in at an angle like this, and then just push to lock in place. Do that again for the other hand. And I definitely maybe push it against the wrapping, because if the green does rub off, it doesn't show up quite as obviously as it does against the silver section of the base there. Okay. And there he is, looking pretty good. Looks pretty awesome, actually. They look so good with their weapons out, ready to go. Super awesome. Let's take a look at the next one. Alright, next up we've got Donnie. And we will grab his bow staff. Also painted very nicely with the wrapping all down the middle. And then with Donnie, he's got this little notch in the back here, which should fit the bow staff pretty well. I think it's mostly just this, the section without the wrapping is really all that seems to really fit in the notch here. You can kind of get the base of the wrapping in, but it's extremely snug by that point, and I don't want to force the bow staff all the way through, because it might cause some issues. So that's probably as much as I would do, you know. Play with it at your own risk, but I don't want to force it in any more than what needs to be done. And then, of course, same thing as Leo, just kind of drop it in here at a slight angle and then push it into place. And luckily this is, you know, brown wrapping, so it shouldn't show up as easily as the silver paint on Leo's swords. There we go. Alright, not bad, not bad. It's a little long on this end, but you get the idea. I think he looks pretty good. I think they all look very good with their weapons in hand. Okay. Next up we will do Raph. And there's no real, there's no indentations in his belt to hold his size. So, I mean, they're really just going to go, like, on the waist sections here. You can kind of see there's space for them to just kind of hang there, so let's bring in the size. Also nicely painted. Silver on the prongs, silver at the hilts here, and then wrapping for the grips. All painted very nicely. And we're gonna do same thing as we do with everybody else. Kind of get it, yeah. So just push it through a little bit, snap it into place. Same with this side. Just push it through here. And snap it into place. No muss, no fuss. And he looks great, man. He looks great with those weapons. Again, as they all do, it looks so good. It all looks so good. We'll pop these back out, and let's see if we can't get them stowed on the belt. Probably should have done that first, but whatever. Okay, so they should just fit. Let's get your arm out of the way here, Raph. They should just fit like so. There we go. Just like that. Get on the other side. Boom. Nice. Yeah, that looks pretty good. They're in there pretty snugly. They aren't loose. Don't really seem like they're gonna fall out. That's awesome, man. That is super awesome. I love that. All right, and then last but not least, Mikey. And we've got his two nunchucks right here. Also painted very nicely. Pretty sure these are painted. And they're held together. It's not a chain, and it's not plastic. It's this. It's a fabric. I guess you could just call it a rope. It's not like actual rope, but I mean, you kind of get the idea, I guess. Soft fabric material. Same thing. We'll just slip it in the fingers like that. Lock it into place. Same thing over here. Slip it in his fingers like this, and lock it into place. And boom. Mikey is ready for action, man. Yeah, he looks good. He looks so good. As all of his brothers do. Man, yeah, these just turned out really good. These just turned out so good. Alright, let's get these out of his hands. See if we can get them stowed in the belt. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. I think they should just hang out. Same as Raph, just on this, down the sides here. Okay, so yeah, they kind of both just fit snugly on the sides of his belt there. Let's see if I can get a better shot of this. Okay, so yeah, they kind of just fit on the side of his belt there. They are a little loose and kind of acting like they want to fall out, which they might if given the opportunity. Yes, they're not super snug, but it's still not bad though. I think it ultimately works pretty well. Okay, so we have Raph back, and we're going to take a look at his extra accessories. So, of course, he comes with his extra right arm with the wrapping that goes around the bicep, and also his hood that we see from the Return to New York comic. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to pop out the bandana because this will not fit with his hood on. So let's go ahead and pop this out. Just be real gentle when you do it. It kind of feels like it's just going to break right off, but it should come out just fine. And we're also going to take the right arm out. Boom. And then replace it with the wrapped arm. Snaps in place just like that. Now I did have to kind of work the bicep on this loose because it was stuck like some of the other biceps on these guys. But it turns just fine. It swivels just fine, no problem. So that looks really good. So now we're going to put the hood on, and I would just say, be gentle with it. Don't don't just force it on, because you probably will rub off some of the green paint in the hood area right here if you force it on him. It should go on without too much of a fuss. There, that wasn't too bad. All right, and then there you go. You're able to create Raphael's look from the Return to New York comic, and it looks really good. It looks so great. Again, you got the wrapping on the bicep, and then the hood, which has a lot of really great detail on it. It's got a really nice texture and feel to it. You can see all the stitching, and then also some of the line art, again, just to make it look like it popped out of the comic book. But overall, I mean, he looks great. It's an excellent addition to the set. And the last accessories that we have are the straight bandanas that are meant to look like they are blowing in the wind. And we'll go ahead and pop all of these out to get a look at that. Okay, and here are the boys with their bandanas blowing in the wind, and I have to say, these look really, really good. Like, it just takes these guys to the next level. It really adds to the silhouette of the figures, and it just, they look so good. It just really makes them pop, and I really couldn't have asked much more from this set, in all honesty. This is pretty much the perfect set. Something to note is that when popping out the resting bandanas, I didn't really have a problem with any of the turtles except for Donnie here. His was kind of a little stuck, so you have to work it loose, and eventually it popped out. But again, as always, just be on the side of caution. Don't be rough with these things. Always be gentle with the more pliable parts on these guys, because the last thing you want to do is snap something off. So just something to keep in mind. All right, guys, final thoughts. This is a truly incredible set. I really cannot praise it enough. Like, what a time to be a collector, especially a collector of TMNT. If you told me 2 years ago that we were going to get a Mirage Comics Jim Lawson styled set of turtles, I would have been like, I don't know about that. Because the last time we got a set of Mirage turtles from Neca was 15 years ago. 15 years! And yet, here they are. They exist, they are real, and they are amazing. Guys, I rate my action figures on a 1 to 3 GOAT scale, with 3 being top tier. In this case, we have the coveted, the elusive, the mystical, 4 goats! 4 goats! Boom! This set is currently available in store at Target. And I believe it is also supposed to be available on Target's website as part of their Summer Geek Out event, when they release a new set of figures every Friday through Friday, July 21st. So keep an eye on the website, go check out your local Targets, and get a set. Until next time, stay retro and be the GOAT.